Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Director Watch, an AwardsWatch podcast that attempts to get inside the mind of cinema's greatest auteurs, explore what drives them, and maybe we go on a few unrelated tangents along the way. I'm Ryan McQuade, the executive editor here at AwardsWatch, and joining me, as always, is my co-host and guy I'm having to save from the mob, Jay Ledbetter.
Ryan, I think in honor of this film, the edit for this episode needs to take about 3 years. And I think it needs to be an absolute masterpiece. I think that's what needs to happen to honor the Elaine May film, Mikey and Nicky, which is what we're talking about today.
I don't know if that's fair to me. I'm the one who edits these things.
Well, I wish you had higher standards. I wish you had Elaine May's standards.
Well, I think I'm going to butt in here. I know I haven't been introduced, but I think I think, Jay, you and I need to steal Final Cut privilege away from Ryan McQuade, try to take it away from him, and he's going to have to hide it in his house.
If he's going to settle, which it sounds like he's going to.
We're not even 2 minutes into the show, and it's already the crazy kinetic energy of Mikey and Nicky.
Yeah.
This is wonderful. Sure, Jay. I'll spend 3 years and this episode will never come out.
And then we won't make another podcast for 11 years.
I mean,
and it will not be well received when you
we technically do have a lost episode on this podcast.
That was a Haynes one, right? That was early.
Yeah, that was Velvet Goldmine.
We did
a whole. Did we do a whole 2 hours on that?
Get that audio.
No, it doesn't exist. It's gone, buddy. It's gone. We're never doing Velvet Goldmine.
Whose fault was that?
I'm gonna blame you.
You can blame me,
but it was your fault. It was my fault. Yeah, I know.
I feel like every podcast has a lost episode. I had a previous podcast that had a lost episode because the guest was no good, and so we threw it out.
Oh, that was a throwaway.
Much like today. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
That's mean. He said it right up for himself. That voice that you're hearing is a first-time guest, AwardsWatch contributor. I can't speak today. Trace Sauveur. Trace, welcome
Hello.
to Director Watch.
Thank you. Happy to be here. What directors are we watching?
We are watching the films of Elaine May. Jesus Christ.
Oh.
God. These two Atlanta boys here today, I'm telling you, they're going to just be way too much
a person
today.
I've sat in the same theater as many times, never interacted with at all.
Yeah, probably in the same row, like the same press row. It's just like seats away from each other.
Many times. Yeah. Were you at the Ghostbusters Afterlife screening?
No, because I didn't live in Atlanta at that point. So I've only been here for the past a little over a year. So I was in Austin when I saw Ghostbusters Afterlife.
That's how Trace and I met.
Were you at the Brutalist screening?
I was at one of them. There were three. I was not the one that was on the weekend. There was one on a Saturday morning.
I was not at that one.
Yeah,
I was at the first one during the week, and I had to leave at intermission.
Oh, what happened?
It was a dog thing.
Okay. Oh no!
I guess the dog's fine. Moral of the story.
Dog's okay. The dog's okay.
Jesus
the dog's
Christ.
okay.
Was there a dog in the theater?
There was a small child in the theater at the Brutalist screening, I will say, which was
did
odd.
They like it?
It's kind of crazy. Lights, Camera, Jackson was there.
The screen where he's at the watching the porno movie. You could hear the child rustling in the back, and I was like, probably shouldn't be here. This is a press screening. This is an exclusively press screening. First,
do you think that was like?
Here?
You think that was the moment where it's like maybe they shouldn't have been? Not like the hand job at the beginning or the two weird hand jobs later in the second act.
The porno theater is pretty graphic.
It's pretty quick.
Yeah,
though it's like
I guess
quick
so.
cuts.
I don't know.
It's not like the elongated sad jerk off that she gives him in the second act of like, I missed you.
Well, I didn't see the second act until long after.
Well, you know what it means now.
When Atlanta got the coveted 70 millimeter print.
And then what did Jay go and do? He went and saw it, and then he said,
I went and saw
fuck you, movie. You're not any good.
No, I said, I wish I liked it more. That's what I said about it.
Should just watch the first half.
Yeah. You know what? I love the first half.
I do think, though, that was a little bit of like you saw first half, and then I think maybe you would have had a maybe more of an appreciation for it if you would have saw it all in its totality.
I don't think so.
Rather than sitting on a good first half of a movie. I don't know. Kind of seems like, I don't know.
I like the movie. It's good.
I don't think
so.
I do think Adrian Brody had the best winner speech at the Oscars.
Yeah.
Oh, he did great. He knocked
still
it out of the
going.
park.
It hasn't stopped.
Hasn't
I,
stopped.
I liked that 3 minutes into the speech. He kept saying, "I'll be brief."
I'll be brief. I'll be brief. I've been here before. And it's like, all
I
right.
think he said, I think he said that like 3 times.
Yeah, it's like,
I'm
shit.
I'm almost done.
I'm almost done. Wrapping it up. Anyway, let me go into it. It was
Somehow that was 100% better than his last Oscar speech.
A Nicky-esque Oscar speech, I would say.
It felt
very Nicky-esque.
It felt weirdly, this is going to be a deep cut maybe for you guys, but do you guys remember the South Park episode where they made fun of George Clooney's speech at the Oscars or the Golden Globes or whatever? And it formed like this cloud of smug, as they called it, and it was like traveling to San Francisco.
They made fun of Clooney after Clooney was in their movie?
Yeah.
That's mean.
I mean, no, they make fun of everybody, man.
I mean,
like it was like 7 years after that.
Yeah, you're not safe when it comes to Trey Parker and the other guy whose name I can't remember.
And now they're partnering with Kendrick Lamar.
I mean, look.
I feel like we have talked about that project more than freaking Paramount has talked about that project.
Well, I know nothing of it.
Well, do you want me to explain to you the
other than the fact that it exists?
I feel like
and apparently it's going to go straight to streaming,
which really just sucks.
Sucks.
I mean, we talked about it a little bit, but like the fact that like comedies just no studio has faith in a comedy right now whatsoever. And
well, Paramount seems to have really good people in charge of their distribution. So,
I mean, they seem to be like a studio that's hanging on.
Paramount Plus. Paramount Plus will be gone in a year.
You think so?
I mean, 2 years.
What am I going to watch Survivor on?
How am I going to watch the Golden Globes with Nikki Glazer?
I was thinking about this. So let's say, hypothetically, Netflix buys Paramount Plus.
Oh, Jesus.
Whatever.
This is crazy.
Here we go.
So Netflix costs what at this point? Like $20? Is it about?
Oh, I thought you were talking about the company. How much does it cost? And I'm like, yeah, it costs 20 fucking crisp dollars,
Netflix is like 18, 20 bucks a month right now, something like that.
Sure. It feels like it's more than that now. But
I think like the 4K thing, it's more. But then
the 4K,
is the Netflix original stuff. It's stupid.
It's something close to like $200 a month, probably.
But let's say they buy.
You have to sacrifice your first.
Let's say they buy Paramount, just Paramount in general. They buy Paramount, which is possible. And then all of a sudden, you're paying for basically Netflix and Paramount at once. I would not pay the stacked price of Netflix and Paramount Plus together. Like that would end up being like $33.
Mm-hmm.
I would not pay that for the new Netflix, which would have the thing that I was already paying $33 for before.
So I think what you're kind of describing was the Max Disney Plus thing that they did at a cheaper rate, right? With Hulu.
I'm actually doing that right now.
And it seems like that's a pretty good deal, right? Like
it is. It's definitely cheaper than having Max and Hulu.
But you don't trust that Netflix wouldn't have it at a lower cost. You believe that they would make it higher.
I'm just saying if it was, yeah. I mean, I guess if you say it's like Netflix with the Paramount add-on in my dumb idiot brain, I would still be like, oh yeah, I'm paying for like 2 different things, obviously.
Well, if you paid for them separately, it would be like what, $35. But like if they had a bundle, it would be like $28. Would you do that? Or like $25?
It was a little bit cheaper.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I could.
You can justify that to yourself. Also, by the way, the thing about most of these streaming services is what people don't ever get. It's like you don't have to have these for perpetuity. You can cut them off at any point. Like I watched, I needed Paramount Plus for like 2 months because I was watching a show. Once it was done, bam, off, cut it off.
Severance is Paramount Plus no more Apple TV.
Paramount Plus is pretty good.
It is pretty good. They got great
interface.
They have a horrible interface.
The worst one is
great
Amazon.
calendar.
Amazon's got a lot of really good stuff.
Yeah,
just an unusable.
And they have refused to update that since the beginning.
It's crazy.
It's the same one, and they put like
Amazon famous for being stingy about investment.
Well, that's bullshit because they have like $900 billion into a Lord of the Rings series that nobody can watch because their interface sucks ass.
I'm sure they paid $5 million for executive golf tees. Like, I mean, they're fine.
They really should update.
They're reckless with their money.
No, they really are.
Except when it comes to streaming.
Honestly, I think the best interface is either Max or Netflix.
I think they probably do have the best interface. My wife and I got rid of Netflix because nothing I ever want to watch is ever on Netflix at any point.
That is
true.
If ever I want to watch a movie, it is never on Netflix. So I was like, I'm not using this anymore. We got rid of it. The best streaming service is free, Tubi. That's
Tubi.
Okay.
You have a whole
All right,
wealth
Mr. Tubi.
of riches on Tubi.
I just think HBO is the best, or Max is the best, and they got the Turner Classics. They've got good shows.
You got Studio Ghibli on there.
They got Studio Ghibli. Like they used to have Looney Tunes until that bastard took them off. Like they've got good variety on there. So
What's the name of the studio who's buying the Looney Ketchup?
Ketchup. It's my new favorite studio.
Yeah.
I don't like that name.
Haven't seen the old The Day the Earth Blew Up or whatever it's called.
Haven't seen that either. Heard it's
Apparently the Coyote Acme movie is supposed to be good.
yeah.
From the writer of May December, I
Yeah,
believe.
from Sammy Birch.
Apparently we're getting that. Maybe apparently
From
they're
Ketchup.
thinking about something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ketchup Studios.
Hopefully it's in the theaters. Probably it's just gonna go to like Hulu or something in the
We can
deal.
dream.
So anyway, we're here to talk about Mikey and Nicky.
Yeah.
You freaking psychopaths.
Sort of the Bugs and Daffy of
Oh
their
my
time.
God. I
We're like
really
the
don't know
Elmer
where you're
Fudd
going at
Bugs.
sure tonight. And Trace's Elmer Fudd.
That is true.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Well, Ned Beatty is over there as Elmer Fudd.
Jay, who would
that
you
might be
be,
right.
Bugs or Daffy?
I'm a Bugs. I'm a stinker.
Yeah, you are a stinker. I don't think I'm a Daffy though. I don't think I'm like a fucking moron.
Who are you? You're like a Tweety.
What?
You're just adorable.
Oh, okay. And I'm smarter than the average cat.
I suppose so.
Something
guess
like that.
Trace, who do you?
No, you're a foghorn leghorn.
Oh, okay. Because okay.
That feels like
Explain.
You're-
I want you to
you're sort
explain
of-
this.
There's like a question: are you culturally insensitive? But also there's still like you've got a great character.
Oh, okay. I got like a good presence.
Yeah, it's like
All right.
yeah. I mean, you're
I
very
got
affable.
confidence.
You're
Yeah.
very affable and I think very funny. But
Most of the
there's just-
time-
there's just this kind of lingering thing of like, is this still okay?
My blowing smoke out of my ass and my
Whereas Trace is the Pepe Le Pew, of course.
I was gonna say I'm.
Well, that's culturally insensitive too. By the
trying
way,
to-
no,
they're
Pepe's doing great.
They're trying to cancel me, but they can't.
I'm just glad Jay didn't go Speedy Gonzalez because then he would have then himself called himself out.
Yeah, Speedy Gonzalez. Was he in the new Space Jam?
I don't remember him being in the.
I don't remember.
What do you think
That's
of
truly
LeBron?
a terrible film.
Yeah, if anything to prove that LeBron James is not the GOAT, it's that.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean, they did have the Clockwork Orange guys in it,
Yeah,
which I
that
thought was pretty chill.
poor Cheeto, man. Cheeto having to get that paycheck. That was weird.
As
Poor-
Algae
poor
Rhythm.
him.
Algae Rhythm.
We
Yeah,
got about cool $5 million for that.
yeah. That's why you're not the GOAT, LeBron. Can't make a good Space Jam movie. Sorry.
Is Space Jam good though?
No,
Yes.
it's never been good. The first Space Jam movie is not a good movie.
It's a
never
good
been
movie.
I disagree with this.
It's wild. It's fun.
Bill Murray is very funny in it.
Yeah. It's a good movie. Charles
Yeah.
Barkley, he's in it and he's he's really
He is
good.
Look, I mean,
And it's actually kind of like a precursor to everything that Charles has done ever since, because you're like, oh man, this guy's really funny. And yeah, Michael's good and it's a pretty decent story. It's like under 90 minutes, as opposed to like the new one, which didn't make any damn sense. Anyway, Mikey and Nicky, Trace, we're here to talk about the third film in our Elaine May movie series with you here, buddy.
hot start we're off.
Just a wonderful start.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. Anyway, before we get into your thoughts on the film, man, we want to get your thoughts on Elaine May as a director and her filmography and what you think of her other films, and if you've seen those other projects or even seen her work potentially when she collaborated with Mike Nichols, her famous collaborator. What's your relationship with Elaine May?
I have a very light relationship with Elaine May. I feel like there's might be some other things she had some kind of hand in that I've probably seen that I'm unaware of, but otherwise her only features that I've seen are A New Leaf and Mikey and Nicky. I haven't seen the Heartbreak Kid or Ishtar. So I'm really only familiar with those two. But A New Leaf is great, very funny movie, very subversive. I really I love that movie. And then we're going to talk about Mikey and Nicky, but for me, Mikey and Nicky is should be classified as like a masterpiece of the new Hollywood era. So like you know, of what I have seen from Elaine May, she's a winner.
Yeah.
She's got two other very good movies.
If you want to watch Trace Heartbreak Kid, and it's okay because I just saw it for the first time. There is a really dingy, beat up cut on YouTube you can watch.
Okay, that's my favorite kind.
And
it's about the only way to watch it.
It's about the only way to watch it.
A pharmaceutical company. So, and apparently they have no interest in giving the rights up.
Wouldn't it be funny if Jay worked for that pharmaceutical company and he was calling out like his employer on this series every week too?
Yeah, I have a 70 millimeter print of the Heartbreak Kid. It was shot on 70.
I'm just holding it ransom.
Yeah.
I think they should keep it just because I love a terrible fucking like ripped up VHS or
there's like
rip of a movie.
There's like, I mean, the DVDs are like, if you go on eBay, are like hundreds of dollars that you would need to spend. There's like barely, I don't even think there's VHSs out there. But
Trace and Elena Guy, I watched the Heartbreak Kid. They had a 16 millimeter broadcast print of the movie that they restored and played at the Plaza in Atlanta.
Oh, wow.
And it was very cool to see it. The audio was pretty tinny and not spectacular. But there's something kind of charming about that.
You can only ask for so much.
It is, I think, one of the greatest comedies of all time. So Elaine May, cool person.
I gotta watch it.
Yeah,
I gotta watch it.
But you have seen this film, Mikey and Nicky.
I have, thankfully.
Which is a really good movie.
It'd be weird if he was here and he hadn't seen it.
Well, you know, it would be a first.
I thought about showing up, not having seen it.
I think one week I'm just
even though I watched it years ago.
1 week I'm just going to do it.
Okay.
Just not watch one.
Yeah, I'm just going to be like, balls in y'all's court. Figure this episode out.
Like, it's a good bit.
Like our Graduate episode. Sorry, I haven't seen The Graduate.
Yeah. I've only listened to the Simon and Garfunkel music. That's it. You know what I mean? Imagine if I was just like making all my
swore off of Dustin Hoffman years ago.
Is there before we actually, that's a good question. Is there like anybody that you guys have sort of sworn off? I mean, Jay, you can't really swear off most of your guys that have been canceled because you hang out with them on the golf course all weekend, you know, like Mel Gibson and Jim Caviezel and stuff.
Yeah, you're
like
pretty
that.
close to those guys.
Yeah.
I honestly
Blood Brothers.
Truly though, I'm honestly probably too loose with the separate the art from the artist thing. I just like watch all of them.
Big Spacey guy.
If you asked me when I was in high school, I would have said Kevin Spacey was my favorite actor. So,
so absolutely yes.
And if I asked you right now, you'd say
now I would say he's only elevated.
Trace, your thoughts on Mikey and Nicky?
Yeah, no, as already stated, I think this is kind of I don't know if it's fair to say undersung at this point because I feel like it's been propped up pretty well by places like by distributors like the Criterion Collection and people like that. People have seen this movie at this point. It's pretty easy to access. But kind of a low key all-timer from the 70s New Hollywood era. Right in the leagues with your Scorseses and Coppolas and whoever else you want to add throw in from this era that was just cranking out bangers and all-time masterpieces. I think it's an incredibly funny and sad movie all about male friendship and relationships. And I think I think it's so impeccably made, and I think it's incredible how much it is the kind of a movie for the boys, about the boys, and it's funny in that way, but it is also just like so terribly tragic. It just has such a texture to it, and it's so entertaining, but also just like artistically sound. Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to go too much longer since we'll get into it, but I love the movie.
No, we want you to go long. Just go long. Just take over the whole show.
He'll have plenty more space. We're gonna give him space, much like people gave space for Defying Gravity. In
God,
damn it! Are they doing that?
God, I hate that. Why? Why did you even bring it up? You want me to grab your? He's putting his finger out like
hold my index finger.
Oh my God! Truly one of the most disturbed press.
That clip. I think Mikey and Nicky is a masterpiece. That clip might be better than Mikey and Nicky.
You think so?
I think that's one of the great works.
Jay, when you saw that clip, what did you think of it? Like, it was ridiculous, wasn't it?
I laughed so hard.
It almost felt like a bit from The Onion. Like, it didn't actually feel like real. It felt like somebody was doing a bit on Arrivo and Grande.
No, it did. It did feel like satire.
It felt very Nathan Fielder, honestly.
It was so odd that
what does it mean?
I didn't like know what was happening in that clip at first. Like, it was like it caught me so off guard. Whatever that.
No, it truly does. I mean, yeah, it's like a Tim and Eric clip. You're like, it's like, wait, are they trying? Is there a joke here, or is it just?
Is it just awkward?
You know, it's like Connor O'Malley.
And then but the thing was, the thing that made me laugh so much is like the fakeness in their crying about it, and it's like, what the hell are you? What's going on here? Oh, it's great. Anyway, Jay,
luckily
thoughts
the movie's great.
Yeah, well, no, it is not. Shut up. Did you actually watch it?
Oh yeah, I watched Wicked.
Oh,
I held space.
Oh, because with the wife.
Yeah, I watched it with my wife, who's a big fan of the musical. I have seen the musical.
What'd she think of the movie?
She didn't like it.
Really?
Yeah. I think a lot. Sometimes if you're a true like devotee of
it's hard
original work,
penetrate through that glass there.
It's hard to break that glass slipper.
Yeah. All right. That's
ruby slipper.
That's Cinderella for
Cinderella.
Yeah.
It's hard to break the ruby slipper. Or the glass ceiling. How about the ruby slipper?
Yeah. Well, all right. Are you done? Did you get to the joke
Mikey
that you
and
wanted
Nicky,
to?
phenomenal film. I think I really do think it gets better every time I watch it.
How many times have you watched it?
3 times, I think.
Okay.
Now.
All right. Well, that's well, you can't say a statement and been like, oh, I've only seen it twice. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I've seen it thrice. And God, it's just so good. I love the way this movie looks so much, which is weird because it has 5 credited cinematographers on it, and yet it still feels incredibly cohesive. It's a miracle in that way. But I guess its cohesion in many ways comes from its abstractions, where apparently there were like 1.5 miles of film shot for this movie. Elaine May really, kind of took this movie and ran with it, even though she signed the contract with strict kind of guardrails on you better not do it again, Elaine. Like you can't do this again. And then she was like, I'll do it 3 times as bad. And also I'll make like one of the most incredible stories of post-production espionage in the history of Hollywood. But she basically had 3 cameras running at all times and then just told the actors, like, there are no marks. Go where you want to go. Let the scene play out however feels naturally. And you really feel that in the movie. You talk about naturalistic dialogue, naturalistic behavior on screen. This is kind of it. You talk about Scorsese and Francis Ford Coppola making some of the greatest gangster movies of all time. Most of those are movies. This is so bare bones, so stripped down, achingly human in ways that those movies kind of get consumed by their own grandiosity. This is just like, in the same way that Heartbreak Kid is painfully awkward, this is often painfully awkward and painfully grounded, where even if you haven't, truly experienced the small time gangster life, which I haven't, maybe y'all have, I don't know, we'll get into it, your personal experiences with
I don't want to brag.
The mafia. But it does feel so true to its environment. And I think the performances are incredible. John Cassavetes, one of the great actors who didn't act that much. Peter Falk out here with his glass eye, just nobody looks like Peter Falk because that glass eye, man. You're like, is it a lazy eye? No, man. He lost his eye when he was like 2 years old to cancer. And it just makes him, people who had glass eyes used to be able to be movie stars. That rocks. Like, that's so cool. And it doesn't really happen anymore. It really does feel
your
like
move,
a
Austin
relic
Butler,
in so many ways.
Yeah.
But I love this movie. I do think it is so sad. It is disturbing at times. It really kind of runs the gamut of the sort of sensibilities that a movie can have, and it looks like $1 million. And I love all the hour 45 minutes of it. I think it's incredible.
Well, it was made for 4.3 million, so that's what it looks like.
Well, it was supposed to be made for 1.8.
Yeah, and then it's Elaine May. So
I mean, it is. We've talked about like why didn't Elaine May get to make more movies and
maybe.
And then the counterpoint to that is like, well, look at what happened to Francis Ford Coppola in Apocalypse Now, and then it's like, yeah, well, Apocalypse Now like made a lot of money.
He also had made 2 Godfather movies before that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not like you know, he made some successful movies. That was the problem. As much as
there was,
it was
some women problematic women filmmakers did not get to. You know, listen to this stat that I saw from the years. Let me make sure I get this stat right. From the years of, and this is from Carrie Corrigan's biography of Elaine May. From the years 1949 to 1979, Elaine May made 3 of the 14 major studio films directed by women. There were 14 movies directed by women in 30 years, and she made 3 of them.
That's crazy.
So, that is nuts.
That is bananas. And so there definitely is this element
of 21%, by the way.
Yeah, just over 20%.
Yeah, just
like a math genius.
I looked it up on my phone. And
no, you did it in your head, man. We're on audio. Like nobody saw you putting that into your phone.
I mean, yeah, I pulled the numbers like a beautiful mind out of the air and landed them on the show. No, I mean, totally.
Definitely a shorter leash.
Definitely a shorter leash.
But she was also a pain in the ass.
That's the thing. It's like, okay, that's the truth is that like, yes, she got these opportunities that other women didn't get or very few got. She also made, and yes, there were a ton of her male counterparts. We talked about this a couple times on the series that Mike Nichols got to make some really shitty films and got second chances.
Made Catch-22. And then
he made Day of the Dolphin.
Movies.
You know what I mean? Like he made movies throughout his career where there was like, yeah, he's got a hit in there.
He consciously adapted and said, I'm going to play by the rules. Elaine May has never, will never, not in her DNA.
No, and then you factor in the over budget, the massive delays in editing, the shooting schedule
this movie
going
came out
crazy
like 3.5 years after it was shot.
Yeah, so it's like, yeah, I can understand why maybe there's some studios going like, the fuck's going on? Like even, it doesn't matter who's directing it. If I told just put random person in, doesn't man, woman, you don't even know, and you just said, hey, this director is over budget and has been in the editing bay for 3 years and we haven't seen this movie, everyone would be like, well, why the hell haven't you like killed that person? Like,
Ryan, do you know the story of post-production of Mikey and Nicky?
Go ahead and tell it, buddy. I read it. It's wild.
I mean, it's remarkable. So, I mean, the movie, as the run up to the movie, it's like, okay, Elaine May says, I'm going to get final cut. I want this much money. I want to shoot it where I want to shoot it. And I want to edit it where I want to edit it so that y'all will just stay out of my hair. And Paramount says, okay, unless you do X, Y, and Z. The second you go 15% over budget, we take over the movie. And then over the course of the shoot, the head of Paramount gets fired. So I don't know if the agreement just sort of got lost in the fray or whatever it was, but Elaine May shoots 1.5 million feet of film. It goes crazy over time, crazy over budget. Post-production, she cannot figure it out. She's just in New York editing this thing like a maniac. It sounds like it was shot and edited more like a Terrence Malick movie than, a Mike Nichols movie.
Honestly, would love to see a movie of somebody going through her life trying to dodge studio people while she's making this. It would make her for a great comedy.
Like, we need the Elaine May De Palma, like the Talking Head De Palma movie. Ooh. I just want that with Elaine May.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
That would be pretty good.
Much better director too.
She keeps firing cinematographers. Apparently, the sound people for the film had this idea of doing this multi-track sound that never synced up. All the levels were completely off. It was a disaster. Production started in May 1973 and it was released in December 1976. I mean, it's a long, long process. It was sort of the Gorge of its time. The Gorge. Anybody seen the Gorge?
Not the Gorge. Don't bring up the fucking Gorge. Wait a minute. That's the Miles Teller.
The Gorge?
That's the Miles Teller, Anya Taylor-Joy vehicle. Who directed that thing?
Scott Derrickson.
Yeah, Derrickson.
Oh my God, not Scott Derrickson. God, truly one of the most absolutely annoying. No, just he's super annoying online.
He is very
and yet,
online. For a millionaire, he's very online.
I have a personal connection to Scott Derrickson.
Okay.
My mom was his history teacher.
Whoa!
Wow!
Mm-hmm.
I had Twitter beef with Scott Derrickson at one point.
Ooh. I'm sure you did. Everybody has.
What did you say to Scott Derrickson?
My previous podcast made fun of him via our podcast account, and I think we said something on the podcast that we had posted, and then he listened to it and heard it and saw the tweet and got mad at it and tweeted at us about it.
Well, Jay, he's going to listen to this one.
Well, you know what? Pretty cool that Scott Derrickson listened to your podcast, though.
Pretty cool. Well, what wasn't cool is you know what? Okay, I'm gonna try to game this, and so I was like, you know what, Scott. We're sorry that we said it. It was mean. We were just being mean for no reason. We shouldn't have said it. If you ever want to come on the podcast, we would love to have you on and talk to you about whatever you want. It would be cool. And then he said, sure, I'll come on the podcast. And after I'm done shooting this movie. And so we said, okay, great. He'll come on the podcast. And then I messaged him a couple months later after it seemed like he had wrapped, and we never heard back from Scott Derrickson.
Sounds right.
That sounds rude.
Yeah, I think it was rude, actually.
That's pretty rude. Come on, Scott. You're better than that.
And the Gorge sucked.
Haven't seen the Gorge.
I've heard it's interesting.
It has an interesting base premise, and then it turns into something else.
I've heard it's very COVID shoot.
Yeah, that's what I heard too. Yeah,
sense.
but was it completely delayed as well too, and then just kind of dumped on Apple? Is that what you're saying there?
I'm pretty sure that's what happened.
Oh wow, okay. Well, yeah, I mean, it does make sense. Isn't there a scene where Teller and Anya Taylor-Joy are basically playing the light between oceans and like Morse coding back and forth to one another or something like that. I've seen one clip. It looks awful in terms of just the aesthetic look of it from the clips I've seen online. Apple, man, they just make some weird goddamn movies.
I respect Apple, man. They make some interesting stuff. And then a lot of really bad stuff as well.
You respect Apple?
They have the worst marketing department in America.
But they make movies that you like.
They made Killers of the Flower Moon. I'll never be mad at them.
They're letting me record this podcast right now.
They made that's true. That's fair.
Until you say something bad about it.
They made your favorite Best Picture winner too, Jay.
Oh, Coda?
They made Coda.
Talk about it every day.
You haven't talked about Coda in a while on the show.
Love it.
They made On the Rocks.
I like On the Rocks.
I love On the Rocks.
They've made good movies.
They put all the stock in Napoleon.
I think Boys State is pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
This TV, but we're talking about Severance. I mean, Severance is
good.
Great shows right now.
I like Shrinking.
You're a big Shrinking boy.
That show.
Yeah, I heard second season's really good.
They're letting Harrison Ford cook.
Yeah,
in the second season.
They've got some other stuff too. I heard Slow Horses is really good.
I've heard that's good. I've heard Silo is good, starring my beloved Rebecca Ferguson.
Yeah,
you gotta check it out.
You can't. You gotta check it out.
Actually, what are we talking about?
Talking about.
I lost my track of mind.
Oh, because it's Rebecca Ferguson.
Yeah,
she's kind of an important person for you, buddy.
God, I watched half of Rogue Nation the other day. Just unfair. I
bet you there's a cut out there where it's just the scenes with her in it, just for you.
Yeah, I made it. Remember when what's his name? Who's the that 70s show guy?
Oh no.
Topher Grace did the edit of the prequels.
I thought you were going way off with that into a really dangerous area.
Topher Grace loves editing movies. I want to say it was after he did Black Klansman, and he was like, I got to get out of the headspace of David Duke. I'm gonna edit the Star Wars movies just to
Good for
distract
him.
myself, and then he
Yeah.
did it. And yeah,
Topher Grace, the only
I'm gonna do that, but it's gonna be the Rebecca Ferguson cut.
Topher Grace, the only good one on that 70s show, because he was the only one not to send a letter to the parole about that his co-star who was like the like
Well,
Danny, what's his face?
What's Wilmer Valderrama up to these days?
God damn. Yeah, I was thinking about that the other day. Like, is that guy still around?
I want Mikey and Nicky remake.
No.
Wilmer Valderrama, Ashton Kutcher.
Isn't the Clutch like he in financial trouble as well? Because the whole Robin Hood thing?
Maybe I don't know.
Yeah,
He's he's loaded.
And then like they were kind
invested
of
his money very well.
weren't they like Kunis and him like weren't they like anti-vaxxers or something as well too? Like
You
there's
know
a
what
lot
was
of stuff.
good?
Which one?
Goodrich.
Which one's Goodrich?
The Michael Keaton movie
Oh, was that good?
with Mila Kunis. I mean, good is probably an overstatement, but I enjoyed it.
Well, Keaton's good in everything.
Is he?
I
When's
googled.
Keaton bad?
I mean, you're probably right. I'm sure I could find something.
He was even
but
good in Beetlejuice. Like he was awesome in that.
He was good in Beetlejuice.
He was pretty good in
That movie.
He's pretty gonna beat it this time too. I googled Wilmer Valderrama, and in the people also asked section, one of the things says, "What did Wilmer Valderrama do to Mandy Moore?" So probably good.
Oh, okay. So he's probably doing great.
So what you're telling me is they're going to get him on that like BuzzFeed thing or whatever, where he has to rip off the little internet questions. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And they're gonna be like,
weirdly,
top searches.
the answer was Wilmer Valderrama was nothing but kind to Mandy Moore.
Yeah.
He often gave her
He's a
flowers and
perfect
gentle
gentleman.
kisses.
Jesus. Yeah, I guarantee you it's not good. Anyway, Mikey
It was neither
Nicky.
a Mikey or a Nicky.
No, it's bad. So this
Wilmer
is
and
the
Ashton.
stop. Anyway, this was the film that I had seen within Elaine May's filmography before the series started, and everything else was first time watches for me, and so I was able to watch this and I love this movie. I think it's great. It's so different. It's such a tonal shift, really, from her first two films. It's it has comedy within it, but it's much more tension based. I feel it's the very
This was basically the first screenplay that she wrote. She had this since the 50s.
yeah, but you're right, Jay. Her sort of allowing these two to kind of find it, and then really with those 3 years of her in the editing bay, her finding the film, it kind of you feel that
The cut that we have now,
yeah
who knows what it was like when it first came out.
exactly
This is
But
actually one of the great Criterion achievements, honestly.
to be able to have this, yes.
to have it and let Elaine May make like the definitive version of the movie.
And what's so great about it is like you do feel like you as an audience member are discovering their actions as they're doing it. It feels very live theater almost in a lot of ways too, like real life. It feels more at times when I'm watching this movie, it feels more weirdly like a document of a wild night rather than
Cinema
it feels like
verite.
it feels very much that.
Cook.
And I love Cassavetes as a director. Him as an actor, he's phenomenal. Him and Falk have this great chemistry. Obviously, they work together, or as a writer director, and as actors before. But they have this really built-in chemistry. It can be sentimental at one time. It could be volatile at the next, and you're really just kind of on the drive with them through this night, through these events, and seeing the deterioration of each other's friendships and their souls. And it's quite devastating to watch. I actually remember this being one of the films that when I had a brief chat at Telluride with Sean Baker, this was one of the films that he was mentioning about in the second half of Honora as a little bit of an inspiration. You can totally see that. You can see Baker's work a lot inspired by a movie like this, and sort of just the frenetic pacing of it, right? The Safdies as well too. Like you can tell
It's much better than Honora.
I understand that.
I like Honora.
I understand that. I'm not comparing them as masterpiece or to masterpiece. I'm not saying that even Nonora is a masterpiece. I'm just saying that like it's called influence, jerk. And you can feel that at a movie like this.
What's
with
the best
all
Sean
that's-
Baker movie?
We're not doing this.
Red
Just
Rocket.
let me
I
finish
agree.
my
Red
thought.
Rocket is my answer as well, Trace.
I think it's Nonora. But
I love
anyway,
Nonora.
I think that for a movie like this to have all of its baggage and everything, for it to still be able to exist is one thing. For it to be as great and as influential as it is now is wonderful. I do agree with you, Jay. The fact that Criterion, like this is the reason why Criterion should exist. This is this is why Criterion should go after movies like this and not like Steven Spielberg movies. Like you should go after a movie like this because this
I did
needs to
see
be
some
made.
posts recently that was
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, no,
more.
we need to save
Criterion
Elaine
needs
May.
to quit trying so hard and put E.T. in the Criterion.
He said like it was like the poster said it was
E.T.'s
like
doing okay, man.
put fucking
The movie that has a
Jurassic
studio
Park
4K, like-
yeah in there and I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? They need to get Heartbreak Kid. That's what they need to do. They don't need to get this.
I mean, there's two
Um,
sides of that coin. One, it's like Criterion is not the canon, and it shouldn't be considered that. But also, Criterion is doing great work of recognizing stuff that making
They're
stuff
niche.
visible that wouldn't be nearly as visible as it would otherwise.
They're niche stuff.
At South by Southwest, I was sitting next to you, Ryan, actually, but I heard someone behind us. We were by the Criterion van, and someone asked what it was, and they asked what the Criterion Collection was, and then the person next to them asked, responded, and they said it's like what is deemed as like the 1,000 best movies. was their answer as to what the Criterion Collection was.
Armageddon it was once in there.
Well,
I don't think that
it's
counts.
the same. It's the same as like when people say, well, it only got a 60% on Rotten Tomatoes, so people hate it. And it's like you don't understand like the nature of Rotten Tomatoes or the nature of Criterion.
They're a film restoration.
Criterion is good. I got no beef.
They are
with Criterion.
no, I got no beef with them. I got no beef with.
They're definitely getting
I'd be
more
buying.
It's
popular movies. Like No Country for Old Men. No Country for Old Men was doing fine, but it didn't have a 4K before.
It didn't have a 4K.
Yeah.
So
I think they're going to do a There Will Be Blood one. You know what I mean? Like
that's the word on the street.
that's the word on the street. But then like, who asked for the Wiz on 4K? Nobody. But they're doing it. That's kind of cool. Like who's doing Who's doing Sorcerer on 4K? Well, we asked for that specifically.
The worst thing about Sorcerer, or the worst
Jay,
thing about
we
Criterion, is that they make me double buy movies.
Jay,
I now have 2 copies of
the
Sorcerer,
as we all
2
know.
McCabe and Mrs. Miller's too.
That was all
et
us,
cetera.
buddy. That was all.
I mean,
us.
yeah, the heat on Sorcerer after our Friedkin series was
it was wild.
And nobody could stop talking about Sorcerer. Like in my daily life, I heard people.
Jay,
talking
did you
about
just see
Sorcerer all the time
that
after rips.
they're putting out? I forgot what the company is, but they're putting out a Blu-ray for Carnal Knowledge.
No, I didn't see that.
I think it's Imprint. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
It's a good movie.
But I was like, wow, we did it again.
They put
two
out
and 2
those
months.
like expensive, super big boxes.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. You know what I
It
mean?
is cool.
They put a lot of care
expensive.
into it. Yeah, no, I know it's expensive, but it's. I don't know if I want to put $40 down for Carnal Knowledge, but if they asked us to write like the booklet for it, I'd be interested. I'd be down.
I'd pay $40 to Jack Nicholson personally to explain to me how to pick up women, though.
Via that movie. Oh Jesus! Do you think our podcast episode is going to be one of the special features?
I hope so. I want to write the booklet.
That would be wonderful.
That's pretty cool when Jack was back.
Oh, when he was at the 50th for Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good to see. It's good to see him. Like when he was at the Laker games a couple of years ago too. Like
Yeah.
I cried. I cried when I
The
saw
big
Jack.
games. You cried when you saw Jack Nicholson at the Laker game.
No, at the 50th anniversary for.
Did he dunk?
No. No, yeah, he did the trampoline. It was weird. Actually shot a half court shot and won $25,000.
Holy shit!
No, I cried when I saw him at SNL. Like it was like really emotional. Because we hadn't seen him in a couple of years, and I don't know how many more times we're gonna see him. Like I was thinking about like the next time they do one of these things in 10 years, like Paul McCartney and Paul Simon, who performed that night. They're going to be in their 90s. Are they going to even be alive? Are they going to be performing? Is Jack going to be there? Is Lauren going to be there? Like, they could. These are legends. So it's like, we got to embrace them while we have them, buddy.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know what to tell you.
I mean,
sorry, I got sentimental around here.
I'm the one that brought it up in the first place.
We also what happened to Gene.
I thought it was neat.
Yeah. Oh God. Do we even know what happened to Gene?
I don't know if we have a definitive answer of what happened.
I saw that there was already like a 2020 style Gene, like what happened to Gene show on Hulu.
What happened to Gene?
I mean, it kind of feels like we know what happened. It feels like the kids did something, right? Looks like there was some meddling.
No, I don't think that's what happened.
I think they just weren't around.
I just think that it was a really sad thing.
Yeah, I just think
it was weird.
Really
there's some weird stuff involved with it, but yeah,
they probably should have had somebody in the house.
I feel bad for the dogs.
Well, one of them died.
Yeah, I know. I guess it was like, I think it died like because it wasn't being fed and stuff. It's real sad.
It ate a bunch of pills.
Yeah, I know. It needed to eat, and they found the pills. That's sad.
Look, as an owner of a dog who will eat a pill if you drop it on the ground,
can't do it.
It's unfortunate.
You gotta be careful. Anyway, Mikey and Nicky.
Mikey and Nicky. We didn't finish the story of the post-production of Mikey and Nicky.
Well, keep going.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, we're in the middle here. So, all right. So, Elaine May has all these stipulations. You can't go over budget. You can't go over schedule. She goes over budget. She goes over schedule very easily.
Classic.
Then she starts editing the movie in New York away from Paramount. Can't figure it out. Sounds a disaster. And then Paramount is like, give us what you have. That we are finishing this movie. You are 2 years past. You're over a year past when you said you were going to give us a final edit. And she says, okay, definitely. And so she hands everything over. They go to court in New York, and the court of New York says you have to give these reels up. Like, by law, we are saying you are in breach of contract. You have to give these to the studio. So instead, Elaine May says, okay, well, here's the thing. I already sold them to this other production company. This other production company was basically
telling you this is a great movie. I'm telling you, somebody should make this movie. This is a great comedy of errors. Like, Soderbergh, please make the making of Mikey and Nicky. Like, do it. Like, it would be so good. Like, like almost like Informant style. It would be wonderful. Anyway, continue.
It would be good. But so she sells it to this studio, but the studio isn't really a studio. It's basically an LLC that Peter Falk established so that he could get the prints of the reels for Mikey and Nicky so that Elaine May could get her cut. And then again, the court is like, no, you got to give it up. And so she says, okay, here I go. And then they get all the reels. There are 2 reels missing. Where are those reels? They're not in the state of New York, so they have no jurisdiction to take the reels. They are in Connecticut somewhere. And at a certain point, they can't even find them anymore. Elaine May, of course, claims innocence in all of this and says, I don't know who took them, but somebody did, and it was very unfortunate, and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, at this point, Elaine May is pulling out all the stops. She's like, Warren Beatty, convince Paramount to let me have the final cut. And Paramount is like, we cannot set a precedent for being blackmailed into letting people have final cut.
Again, this just sounds wonderful. I don't know who would play Elaine May in this scenario, but I'm all for it.
Also, obviously not pragmatic to work with, but damn, Elaine May is such a pimp.
Elaine May rules.
She rules. This is a great movie. I got to write this script right now. I'm sorry.
And then it's just, this Cold War between Paramount and Elaine May. Eventually they agree to sort of meet in the middle and say, all right, just edit it on the lot and you can do it. And it never gets to a point where she's fully satisfied with it. It is meddled with to a certain extent. It is interestingly, it's released in December, which now is like primo awards fodder time. But for them, it was just like, we are going to put this in theaters for 5 days. Like this, we are
done with this. Yeah,
we're over it. Just give us what you have. We're putting it in theaters. Critics didn't like it. It doesn't even have a box office number on Wikipedia. It was that haphazardly kind of put into theaters. And again, Elaine May didn't make a movie for 11 years after that. It was the story of this movie when it hit theaters was the drama behind the scenes as it was about to get released. And so obviously it was doomed from the start. And it gave her this reputation. And because of that, we only got one more Elaine May movie until the Dakota Johnson movie that I assume is coming out in 2025.
You think that it's coming back? You think,
or never?
I don't think that movie's gonna. I honestly, the more and more I think about it,
it's not gonna happen. It's
not
not
gonna
gonna ever happen.
Gotta have some faith.
Maybe if Materialist is a hit, maybe, because then she's got like a box office movie behind her. Sebastian Stan's coming off an Oscar nom. I don't know.
Maybe if she pitches Mikey and Nicky too, then that'll convince.
Ooh, that'd be good.
Ooh.
What's
Yeah.
Peter Falk up to these days?
Jay,
Hmm.
you know better than this. God damn it. But no, it's I mean, this is such a wild event. But like, so Jay, can you walk me through then when this gets with Criterion, does she then have to go back and reconfigure the film and make it what we know
My
of it as now?
understanding is that it was reworked from its original cut and restored, and it is now the movie that Elaine May
Wanted it
really
to be.
gets behind. Yeah,
Okay. All right. Well, that's at least good.
which rocks.
Yeah.
I know she wouldn't want to do this, obviously, but I do wish the original theatrical cut was a bonus feature on the Blu-ray. I would like to see it.
That would be very cool.
Yeah. I don't think that that's ever going to happen.
No.
I think we're going to
obviously
just
not.
have to, because otherwise she's going to go back to the reels and we're going to get like a completely different version of this movie. And then,
I want David Fincher to do a cut of the of Alien or a commentary on Alien 3.
get David Fincher Mank style to make May. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
May Inc.
May Inc. Yeah. Or Elaine. Yeah. Do that. That would be great. But he has Gary Oldman play Elaine May.
He'd be pretty good.
He'd be pretty good. He's a chameleon, that Gary Oldman.
It's safe for you to do it. She was so good in Mank.
She was. She could pull it off. Who could pull off Elaine May in a movie if they did that, Jay? I know this is very niche. No one would want to see this movie, by the way. But it is such a fascinating story. I don't know how anybody who loves Hollywood stories wouldn't want to like maybe sink their teeth into
I mean,
this.
actually, I think there's a very obvious answer to this.
Oh God, if you say Sydney Sweeney, I'm going to punch you in the face.
No, Rachel Sennett.
Oh, okay.
That's really fair, actually.
I was thinking Alana Glazer too.
She would be good.
I think she would be pretty good.
I mean, Rachel Sennett's too young, but
Yeah, but like give her. Well, I mean, they were playing like 45-year-olds in that Saturday Night
if
Live
Gabrielle
movie.
LaBelle can play Lorne Michaels,
Right? Exactly. They were like
to
AARP
quote Warren
members.
Beatty, rules don't apply.
Yes. The rules. God damn it. The rules don't apply. That's for sure. But
Do you like Saturday Night?
I did. I had a good time with it.
I thought it was so bad.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
Do you guys not like it?
No.
Eric and I were talking about this recently. Sometimes it just plays better in a crowded room with a bunch of people then
Were
when
you at like
watch
the
it,
festival premiere of that?
I was at the premiere that night.
I mean, look, it's a full star inflation.
Yeah,
when
it's a
you're
little
at the
bit of
festival
inflation.
premiere.
But
A lot
but
of the
also
time, I'm
too,
sure.
I watched some like kind of rough movies before that.
Oh,
And
well, that's
so-
like an extra half star on top of that.
And then
I
it was like, and it
I
was
just watched Cocaine Bear.
and it was the
Whatever is
premiere.
coming up next, be better.
It was the premiere, and it was on Saturday night. You know what I mean? So, and Bill Murray
That's
surprised
another star.
Bill Murray surprised the audience and
So we're just doing like
introduced.
4 artificial half stars.
So this is like a masterpiece at this point. No, I just had a fun time with it. Everybody in the audience had a pretty good time with it for the most part. And then, but then that's the facade of that movie. It's like you have maybe a good time with it. It is what it is. And then you completely forget about it. And then, the movie kind of slid down after that. And so as a film for what it is, it gave me a couple chuckles and I had a good time. As a piece of history and an actual like celebration of Saturday Night Live, yeah, it's pretty rough. Does like most of the
I don't
cast
even care
work?
about that. I just don't think the movie's that good. I do have all the Gabriel LaBelle stock in the world, though.
He's really nice. I got to interview him last year, and he is a really nice guy. And I've talked to him before in
He
person.
loves movies too.
He's a good dude. Like he's a good dude. And he was Sammy. He was Sammy Fableman.
Played Little Stevie.
He played Little Stevie. He was great in that movie too.
The Fablemans absolutely rocks.
Is that Jay? Would you say Fableman's one of the best of the decade so far?
Yeah, absolutely. I would.
Trace, are you a
I agree.
Fablemans guy?
Yeah, I agree. I love the Fablemans.
I cried during the Fablemans. I think that movie's beautiful.
Yeah.
Fablemans rules. Well, you also cried when Jack Nicholson showed up for 5 seconds on Saturday Night
Listen,
Live.
I have a heart, all right?
Well, he did dunk, so
Yeah, I mean, he kicked it over to the Sandman. Like that
He
was
hit the
really nice.
$25,000 3-pointer.
Yeah, exactly. What do you think Jack would have bought with $25,000 if he won like something like that? I actually don't want you to answer that, Jay, because
I
it'll
think
be
he would
very
have
inappropriate.
thrown it. He would have just thrown it over his shoulder into the crowd.
Looks like I just made another $1 million, you know? So, do you guys have thoughts about the film itself?
Well, it's interesting. I feel like we've all brought up the kind of the naturalistic nature of kind of how the film plays, which is very interesting considering that according to Elaine May herself and other people who worked on the film, basically nothing was improv on this movie. Apparently, like 99% of the dialogue was in the script.
She wants you to read what's on the page. Yeah.
Yeah. So it is like very, very true to what she wrote. So I think that really speaks to both, I mean, just the shooting style, her direction, and also Peter Falk and John Cassavetes acting capabilities, that this comes off as kind of spontaneous as it does, because it does really feel like on the fly, like you are kind of just on this ride with these two guys for this entire night. It doesn't feel like it doesn't have any sense of like rigidity to it at all. It does feel very like kind of live wire, which is very impressive. I mean, it's part of why I love the movie so much.
It is very loose. It is just the grain. You watch the grain and you're like, oh,
the
well,
grain.
this is just two dudes. This is the fellas hanging out on the bus smoking cigarettes.
The vibes of them like hanging out in the bar, like having a drink, and then like walking out and it's rainy and it's not New York. What city is this?
Philly.
Yeah,
Philly.
the rainy Philly streets of them just walking down, like the vibes are really immaculate when they're not like turned totally interpersonal tragic deterioration of a friendship.
It's half dudes rock and it's half just dudes. It's half like dudes are broken permanently.
Dudes are
Like-
terribly broken beyond repair and are totally isolated and alienated from themselves and each other.
Yeah, I mean, it is such a good hangout movie until all of a sudden it'll like just bash you in the knees with a crowbar and be like, these are two broken men.
Yeah.
Like,
And it's so like just having a woman's perspective on like a male friendship relationship like this is very, it's just like it genuinely feels so sharp and insightful, specifically because it's coming from Elaine May and her perspective as a woman. And like part of the movie is so genius because like it treats their friendship as so genuine, and it really empathizes with them, and it like feels for their characters, and like there's a legitimacy to their relationship and them as friends. And the tragedy of that friendship, despite the critiques that, you know, Elaine May has of the relationships of men and of Mikey and Nicky themselves, because they're not really great people necessarily. Yeah, there's just like really a kind of an extension of care given to their relationship, despite kind of the not so great things going on between them.
oh yeah, I mean, it's such a lived in movie. You feel the weight of the history, even if you don't entirely hear it. And obviously you hear some things about Mikey's past, and what's so revelatory about that is his best friend knows so much more about him than his wife knows about him. At the end, when he's like, did I ever tell you that my brother died when I was young? And she's like, oh, I don't think you ever told me that. What? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's absolutely ludicrous. And really, that's the most tragic part of the movie.
God damn it.
At the end, when he's talking to his wife and he's revealing these things that he, for one reason or another, I can't even really fathom what that reason is. He's telling her these things about him that he's never told her before. I don't know why that never would have come up. I don't know if you view that as sort of a commentary on this particular generation of men or men in general or whatever it may be, but it does feel really biting in a lot of ways. And then you consider the fact that what he's sabotaging, he's secondhand murdering his best friend who knows more about him than anyone else in the world, but is a complete train wreck of a human being. Um, it is so tragic. It's so tragic, especially when you consider maybe the greatest tragedy of all is that they treat everybody in their lives so poorly. And here are these guys
Yeah.
who at least have some sort of mutual agreement of miserableness, and they betray each other at every turn, whether it is, literally trying to get them killed or, throwing his dad's watch on the
Oh
ground and
man, when he
destroying it.
throws that watch on the ground, I was like, man, fuck you. That's low. He's like,
You can
is it
even,
when
you,
he goes, is it broken? And I'm like, fuck off,
you
dude.
can at least have some sort of like mental detachment of being like, I am able to take myself out of my being and have this guy killed in some sort of like hypothetical mob, like my life is a movie thing. But destroying the watch is like so personal an attack, knowing the history of what that thing is. And maybe he was just hammered. That's possible. But it's so sad and so mean. This movie is so mean. And Cassavetes is just like sweaty the whole time. I mean, it is just like it's such an achievement of I think design and environmental construction. The ecology of this movie is immaculate.
Yeah. Oh no, Trace, you were gonna say something?
No, I was just gonna say the movie does do that too. It's kind of like I don't know. It kind of moves from being sort of like kind of an obligatory night for these men. Not obligatory is the wrong word, but kind of just like this night that moves just from annoying to where to just like downright kind of unpleasant and like dirty, like really like kind of dirtying the relationship between these two men with these kind of just small moments where they are just like really revealing themselves in very terrible ways to each other and how that kind of reflects on themselves as well. And I don't know, it's just it's such an interesting movie about male relationships. Like I said, I also think it's interesting that apparently Elaine May did a lot of readings for these characters. It was not just Peter Falk and John Cassavetes from the start. Apparently, she read for a lot of actors for these parts, and I thought it's just it's interesting to think about how this could have ended up with any two other performers because they are so pitch perfectly paired for one another to kind of contrast each other in this movie.
Well, they had that built-in relationship, and they
Yeah.
kind of had been working with each other. I mean, obviously, like folks in A Woman Under the Influence. Jay, have you seen that movie?
No, you know what? I actually haven't done nearly as much
The Cassavetes?
Cassavetes.
Do you own the box set?
I do own the Cassavetes box set. I've seen all of the really early Cassavetes that probably most people haven't seen. And then for whatever reason, I just got sidetracked on my Cassavetes watch. No, I need to see the really big ones I haven't seen. We just did 1980 on
Mm-hmm.
the kind of Oscar retrospective. So I've seen Gloria and I've seen I think the first three Cassavetes, and I like them all.
Mm-hmm.
So I need to
Those are the
obviously
ones
see
I've
the big
seen as
ones.
well, actually. I think I've seen the first three in that set, and then I haven't seen the other ones. So I haven't seen like
Yeah.
Killing of a Chinese Bookie or
One
the
Under the
the other ones in there.
Influence. I,
I have seen that one actually.
I can't even. What are the first two called? One of them
There's like
Shadows,
and the other one's is Faces.
Shadows, Faces, and then the one with Judy Garland, which I actually think is quite good.
Yeah.
Oh,
Is it Judy Garland?
a child is waiting.
Yes,
Sounds
yeah, that
right.
one I think is actually really good. It's way different than very different than kind of what you think of Cassavetes as. It's about like raising a special needs kid. I think it's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean they work really well together, and he plays Falk is the husband in Woman Under the Influence, and he's phenomenal in that film as
Yep.
well. And so
Falk
they're
is
just
great. I mean, energy unlike anybody else.
no. I mean he's
70s movie stars are the best.
yeah
Absolutely, yeah. They have
because
like,
because
all
they
look
had
so
faces.
distinct.
They had
They
faces.
look like actual people. Yeah, they have
Yeah.
such
Like I was
distinct faces.
talking
Hackman,
with
RIP.
Sophia the other day, and we were just texting each other, and we're just like, why is everyone now like every actor in a movie look like a boy? Where are men? Where are like men?
Everyone looks like face tuned.
Yeah, they all look like the Rat Boys, that everybody's all
Snapchat
attracted
filters.
to. Yeah, all the Snapchat. It's just like, where are like these guys? You know what I mean? Where are actors? Where are men that look like they've been through the mud? You
tell them, Ryan.
We need guys
Where
that
are
look
the
like
men?
us. We need guys that look like us in these
I'm
movies.
just saying, everybody's too
We
pretty.
need the fellas.
Nobody could do this movie. These guys are perfect because like they're just these are kind of schmucks.
Or we're gonna remake Mikey and Nicky with Timothy Chalamet and
Jacob Elordi
and Jacob Elordi.
You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, Cassavetes is a very good-looking guy who just succumbed to vicious alcoholism. I mean, he's a naturally good-looking guy.
His base shell is like very handsome, but like he just like dirties himself up so much with his actions.
And Peter Falk is just like a incredible face. Obviously, the eye is a huge asset to just him being a compelling figure on screen. But there really is a lot to be said for that. Just especially in the vein of like the people look different from each other. A Marvel movie, it's all like, yeah, these guys are all like 8 or 9s out of 10. They're all incredible looking. They all have very smooth faces and symmetrical.
They're freaking ripped.
Yeah.
That was the thing, like, the time in this recording, it'll be out, but I saw the film Warfare, and, I would give them credit. It's like, yeah, they've, most of these guys are really young, but you could tell that they went through the training and everything and kind of stripped away, like Garland and Ray Mendoza and the director kind of slipped and stripped away all like the Hollywoodisms out of that movie and out of those performances. But then like halfway through the movie, Charles Melton walks in and you're like, oh my God, that's like one of like the most beautiful guys in the world. Like no way he would be a soldier. And it's like really hard to watch. I feel like television's different. Like television.
I think it's just like, they need to look different, which
They
is
need to
what
look
I
like-
think is some of the magic of Fast and Furious, for instance, is it's like, I can tell these people apart from each other.
Well, you
Not that
love
Fast and Furious
Tyrese.
is Mikey and Nicky.
You know what I mean?
But even Heat, like in Heat, you're like, I don't remember that character's name. I don't remember much about them, but that person has a very distinctive look that looks different from these other people in this movie. And I think there's inherent, honestly, aesthetic value to that. That is lost in a lot of modern cinema.
We just need some people to look a little, we need some weirder
Where did all the
faces.
glass eyes go?
And that's what I'm saying. Like, we need some more strange, some more like,
And
some
not
more
Doctor
out there.
Strange.
Not Doctor Strange.
Not talking about Doctor.
No more
Or not,
Cumberbatch.
no more Cumberbatch. You know what I mean? Just like need some, we need stage actors. We need
Less
people that,
Cumberbatch, more Cabbage Patch.
like, I'm sorry, but we miss, like, you're right, Jay. Like 70s movie stars were at a much different tune and style.
No, I mean,
and
we're not
look.
exactly saying anything particularly revelatory.
No, we're
yeah,
not. But like even in our era, like losing a guy like Philip Seymour Hoffman, it was huge because you're losing a guy here that's not your conventional leading man. And I was talking with somebody.
Adrian Brody is very 70s.
He's very much,
Yeah,
but like
noted.
you're talking
Yeah.
about a guy that made like a lead performance 20 years apart. Like we're not talking about him being in every movie.
Yeah, who do we have?
And he's still doing that speech right now, which he'll never be able to make another movie.
Yes, that's long.
Yeah,
that was
he's
longer
kind of
than
really,
this podcast.
he's really committed to that speech.
He's
We have,
really
like Jesse
committed.
Plemons now. Jesse Plemons.
Plemons.
Is kind of
Plemons is
Plemons.
my guy. Like he
Yeah.
is I've got a lot of Plemons stock as like the next 10 years being the GOAT because he makes smart choices.
yeah.
And he'll work with any auteur out there. He's going to be in the new Lanthimos
Dude
again
works.
this year. And I mean, I want him to work again with PTA, and he worked with Marty and Jane Campion. And
Yep.
he makes great choices. I love Plemons. Plemons rocks. Who would have thought like the fourth or sixth lead off of Friday Night Lights would be an actor of their generation? But like
When life gives you Plemons, you get good movies.
you make Plemonade.
That's true. Yeah. You got to make Plemonade.
gotta make Plemonade.
I'm looking at, I'm just looking at kind of the movies that came out last year, and I'm like, man, like original, unique looking guys like Josh Hartnett. And I'm like, I mean, I guess sort of now, but he's just like a
He was a
traditionally
heartthrob.
brown haired
Yeah.
guy.
I mean, I like
He's
him,
not
but he's a
that.
regular looking guy.
He's just elder.
I mean, really, the unique looking guy that I've come across from 2024 is Aaron Pierre, but he might be the most handsome man in the world.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's too
very
handsome.
unique looking.
Too handsome.
yeah. Just oh man, beautiful guy though.
Love that guy.
Love that guy.
Mufasa.
Rebel Ridge. I like Rebel Ridge.
I mostly remember him from Mufasa.
Jay, did you watch Rebel Ridge?
Yeah, Rebel Ridge was in my top 5 of last year.
Really?
I love Rebel Ridge.
That movie
yeah.
rules.
Yeah.
Yeah. Trace, did you like Rebel Ridge?
Man, I love Saulnier.
I liked it.
Oh, did you hear the highness in that voice?
I liked it.
I thought it was good. I wouldn't head over heels for it, but I enjoyed
I
it.
love Saulnier. I think
Yeah,
that
guy's got
rules.
that's got a
I really liked Green Room, and then I really haven't.
Saulnier, the thinking man's S. Craig Zoller.
I think S. Craig Zoller is a thinking man's S. Craig Zoller.
I was about to say I love S. Craig Zoller.
Yeah.
That guy's a hack.
No,
Ryan, no.
Yeah.
No.
I get where was S. Craig Zoller on January 6th? I'll tell you that.
You know what? He does have weird politics, but
Yeah.
I fucking love his movies.
He works with your guy, Jay. He works with Mel.
Melly Mel.
And Vince. He loves Vince Vaughn.
Yeah.
Yeah, has Vince Vaughn gone full like Jan 6 core?
I think no, it kind of not because then he's like on Curb Your Enthusiasm the last couple of seasons. So like he's kind of dipping a toe in
I think
each
Vince
pond.
Vaughn is kind of like just an everyman.
He can just do whatever he wants.
He seems like a libertarian type. He's kind of like a guy.
Yeah.
Like I don't know.
Have you seen
I
this?
could see him hanging out with Rogan.
Yeah. Yeah.
And not Seth.
Oh no, he did do Rogan, I think, where he talked about like the comedies and how
But
they
honestly, now everybody just does Rogan now.
Are we gonna do Rogan?
Wasn't Robert Downey Jr. on Rogan?
Yeah, like a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody does Rogan except
Bernie went on Rogan
two
for a while.
short,
Except
two
pe-
short
except-
kings.
everybody does Rogan except certain people that run for president. You know? Oh, was it too soon?
Snap.
Was it too soon?
It's like
Sorry.
Thanos with that snap.
Between Biden and Kamala, who's the Mikey and who's the Nicky?
Kamala.
Kamala.
Thank you.
Excuse me.
You don't want
Who's
to
the Mikey and who's the Nicky?
Which one's the sleepier one of the two?
Probably Mikey.
Probably Mikey.
Yeah, I feel like Mikey.
There you
Yeah.
go. I thought I thought Biden was funny, man. Guy couldn't
was
put
funny.
guy could put sense together. Loved ice cream. You know,
Talking about his handicap.
didn't make me feel like our world was crumbling right in front of our eyes. Even though I kind of still felt that a little bit. Like, yeah, I think
We're doing great, man.
we're doing wonderful now. You know
Yeah,
what I
we're
mean?
doing great.
Yeah.
We're taking America back.
Oh my god. Anyway, anything else you guys want to say about Mikey and Nicky as a movie? No, and everything you guys said about the film too. I mean,
I just feel we haven't really brought up the scene with the sex worker, which I feel is important to bring up because it really kind of reveals
Relatable?
Excuse me.
just kidding. No, Trace. What were you gonna say?
When we go back to talking about whether you're a Mikey or a Nicky, let's think about the sex worker.
Yeah.
Scene. No, I mean it's kind of crazy to me how easily this movie kind of weaves between its comedy, its tragedy, and then also just like this very explicit revelation that these are just like not good men as it pertains to I mean in this scene in particular explicitly like relationships with women and how they view women. And I think it's interesting that a scene like that is coming from a woman director who is very very much kind of gauging the relationship between these two men and kind of taking time to step back and kind of analyze how they interact with the women in their lives. And that includes the sex worker. And that includes, like Jay was talking about earlier, Mikey and his wife, and just kind of how their own relationship contrasts with that of the women that they interact with in their lives. And I think it's just kind of a shock when Mikey like ends up slapping that sex worker because she refuses to have sex with him. And I think it's just kind of an interesting, very thorny little additional wrinkle in this analyzing of this relationship that we're supposed to be so invested in. I think it's done very smart. it just felt like a very notable thing that hadn't come up yet because it feels like a turning point in some of the relationships in the movie for me.
It doesn't. It also feels it's very easy until that point to be like, oh well, Mikey's kind of like the nicer guy, and Nicky is kind of the asshole.
Yeah,
and then all of a sudden you're like, Mikey sucks too. What's going on?
He also sucks. Yeah,
yeah. And so it does kind of get you on that path to, Mikey betraying Nicky. So let's talk about that. Why is he doing this? Why is Mikey betraying Nicky? I don't think there's any true text as to why that's happening.
Yeah, no, it's really left up to you, and I wonder how much of it is, obviously, I guess the extent of the actual reason behind it is kind of left up to your own determination, obviously, but I wonder how much of it is intentionally kind of supposed to be extrapolated from what we learn about the relationship throughout this night together. And I wonder if, for me, it seems like Nicky has just become enough of a liability professionally to Mikey that and their friendship has kind of deteriorated enough anyway that he's considered him, just kind of an element that he's willing to let go at this point in his life.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it's almost like this is the fourth time this has happened this year. I can't keep doing this.
Well, it feels like these two are entangled with forces that just do not want this to continue. This sort of, like you guys are sort of mentioning, this continued nature of how we find Nicky all the time. And this I mean, the opening of this movie, which is just really kind of an introductory into the chaos that it kind of consumes, but like them having to go to the diner, Mikey, and get the cream and the sugar and
15 milk, 15 creamer.
Yeah, I love that scene in the diner because I love the extra in that scene who is like kind of laughing watching.
It's kind of like
Peter Falk.
Yeah, there's a break in the back, but I think that he's done this so many times, and at a certain point he's just, this is the final straw. This is the I think that he by the end wants to save his friend, and he's genuinely shocked when they get him. But I think that the goal was to get him in a secure place, away from everything, and eliminate a variable that is a massive wild card. And we see it play out throughout the rest of the film. But I feel like, Falk does this great thing with Mikey the entire time, where I feel like you guys are absolutely right. He's teetering on like, do I want to protect him one last time? Do I want to allow this to just run its course and see what happens by the end of the night? It's the allegiance of, this guy is my friend, but also like, this guy has fucking ruined a lot of shit.
Yeah.
And I'm just kind of tired of it. And
he's a mess. And like clearly has historically been a mess this whole time.
And then also like clearly the toll of the night.
Cassavetes type.
Yeah, exactly. And as the course of the night plays out, it's like, I honestly, if this is the last straw, I don't blame you for letting it run its course to this point. And I think then, I don't necessarily think it's like tragic or sad what happens at the end. I mean, obviously it's a shock to the characters, but honestly, it just feels like right out of the mouth's playbook. It's like we, have a variable and we're going to just get rid of it. And it ends on, it doesn't, I like the decision that Elaine May makes where it's like, we're not going to really dwell on it. Like, it's just the shock of it.
Yeah.
And then that ends. Like,
it is.
It feels like an inevitability. It really does.
It feels like just like the end of like a hit job that you would see in a normal kind of gangster movie.
On rewatch, Mikey absolutely gives up the game in the bar when he looks at the payphone.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally. And it's just funny how much like of the movie kind of plays like, I feel like we've all like hung out with someone like this or had a night like this or been out.
I podcast with them every week.
Exactly.
where you're kind of you're out with someone and they're just doing too much. They're being loud, they're being embarrassing, they're being obnoxious, and they're just like you're out and being embarrassed by someone who is doing too much. And like that is the relationship dynamic between Mikey and Nicky. And so there's an element of that where you kind of get the sense that like Nicky is professionally too much of a liability to Mikey right now, Mikey at this point, and he has to let him go. But then there's all of these kind of like complications that come up with Mikey as a character, and that he's not, you know, that great of a guy either. And so what is his place in dispatching someone like Nicky? So yeah, it's just an interesting, very interesting dynamic that they kind of have to play with each other.
For sure. Anything else, guys, you want to mention about Mikey and Nicky before we start wrapping this ball game up?
I even feel like by our standards, we probably didn't do this movie justice today.
You don't think so?
I mean, we've been all over the place, but it's
but that's what this movie is. It's all over the place.
It is. It's been a real Mikey and Nicky-esque podcast.
We didn't mention Ned Beatty at all, I don't think, but
I think we barely mentioned it, but yeah, he is in this and he rocks. Ned Beatty, another guy that was like of the time. Where it's like, man,
it's like that's probably what a hitman would look like, because he's not out there, you know, punching people's heads against walls. He's
not
just
going
sort
to
of
look like a
snooping around trying to find folks and then shooting them.
I know. It's like
there are some stray lines of dialogue that I had like written down in my journal when I was like writing notes for this movie.
Yeah. Go ahead.
There was the opening line that Peter Falk says when he says, "I came as soon as I got your towel," as after John Cassavetes throws his towel down to get him. They're in the cemetery and Peter Falk doesn't want to be there, and he says, or maybe John Cassavetes says this actually contextually, I can't quite remember, I watched this a couple weeks ago, but he says, "You make it seem like we're cemetery freaks." They're in the cemetery together. Those are the main two I wrote down, actually, but there's just some very stray, like very, very funny moments kind of played between the two of them that like very just kind of sharp lines of funny dialogue that Elaine May has provided these guys that kind of lighten the mood a little bit occasionally.
I like when Mikey calls Nicky a piece of nothing. I just think that's like just the most basic way to,
man,
you know,
that hurts.
That's tough.
That kind of cuts to the core. You ever call me that, Jay?
I don't treat my wife the way you do.
Yeah.
Just like it just feels like things that people would actually say to each other. They're not too clever. Whereas the previous two Elaine May movies are just the smartest people in every room saying the most clever things imaginable at any given moment. And here, there's definitely a lot of cleverness to the film, but I would say it's largely just two average guys being mean to each other. Yeah. And it really plays that way. This movie hurts sometimes in the same way that the Heartbreak Kid hurts, but in a very, very different way. This is so naturalistic and painful.
It's a really great thing to kind of also see, because when we talked a little bit about Mike Nichols, Jay, and his sort of him going from one project to the next and trying not to do the same thing over and over again, right? Kind of weaving through various genres, various looks or examinations of the human condition. And this is,
it's hard to say that she does that because she just didn't make that many movies.
I know,
but what else does she have in her? Could she have made? But Airplane.
I think that even while making, she makes but in 11 years she's going to make Ishtar. That's a much different vibe of a movie than a movie like this. And Heartbreak Kid,
and it's different than the Heartbreak Kid.
It's very different than that. Like tonally speaking, I mean, this is
Ishtar.
not
Trace. You got to watch Ishtar.
You got to watch Ishtar.
I want to watch it
just to be able to say you watched it, because it's got its own baggage, and we'll talk about that next week.
That was very chill.
I know Ishtar is pretty infamous.
But no, I just think that.
But here's the thing: it's really good.
It's pretty good. The thing about this one, though, for me at least, in watching it, is to see the brilliance and why it is a disappointment. Jay, this is the series of watching just someone that, yes, we talked about all the behind the scenes stuff and we went through that crazy story about this final edit and everything in the history to get this movie to where it's at. But then you kind of watch it and you're like, God damn it. She had it. She had the juice, and you understand why
big time.
And it just wasn't because she was so maybe unwilling to give over just a little bit of her vision, which you got to respect. You got to just admire it. But it cost us.
Yeah, she was uncompromising to
double the work. And yeah, I mean, But what we got here is something that is totally different and yet distinct in that both the ending of this and the ending of the Heartbreak Kid, and even a little bit of a New Leaf, they all end on these just notes of a little bit of shock, but also just a lot of dread by the end of these, and really sadness for the characters are facing, and leave you as an audience like on just like watching these three movies. You're kind of weirdly numb. Like, and
Well, I
you're
mean,
like,
they're all
and you're
sort of. I
thinking
mean,
about
the
everything and everything you saw before to lead up to this. And it's such a great exercise as you're watching this because, if you watch A New Leaf and Heartbreak Kid like I did, and then you watch this in that order, it's a very, I mean, this whole movie is in a lot of ways, I think, just a 180 on tone and again her the way she writes the films or way those films are written as opposed to this one, and this being wholly a script that's hers as opposed to somebody else's vision, and her having to craft that. Like, it feels much more like a movie that is very different than what we've seen before, and I appreciate that. Like, I think that difference is what elevates it for me over something like what we'll talk about next week with Ishtar, in that it still feels weirdly 100% her vision, even though there's a lot of chaos going on screen, and it's controlled chaos, and that's what's the brilliance of it.
Yeah, it's unfair to say, particularly in the context of Elaine May movies, but I mean the nomenclature is all of her movies have the graduate ending, where it's
Yeah.
all about like the uncertainty moving forward and how
Well, maybe a little bit
you
less
can't
Ishtar.
envision a happy ending for these. Well, Ishtar is its own beast.
That's a little bit of a sillier ending to the other three, but you're right. It is like
But that's a that's a Hope
Does
Crosby road
someone sit on a
movie,
whoopee cushion?
essentially.
it's pretty much. I
That would be
honestly,
pretty silly.
honestly, someone slips on a banana peel. Whoa. Uh, but no, I think that this movie is wonderful, and I think Jay, it's kind of hard to describe because it's kind of an experience to watch. Like, it really, to break it all down and everything. It's one that you really got to go and dive into it because it's about the journey on this one and going through this night with these two. And
I mean, the aesthetic, I think, is amazing.
Yeah. The way this movie
and
looks is absolutely
the
astonishing.
experience of watching this movie is pretty unforgettable.
But like, this should be mentioned in, because this is in the 70s and we're in this run of auteur cinema, and the 70s being run by so many wonderful films that we talk about. And I mean, when we do the, a little bit of our usual game here, we're going to talk about a really great year of cinema that was celebrated this year. And this ranks up there. This should be, and her fingerprints are all over this decade. It's, her fingerprints are all over tons of other films, like Trace is saying, like that probably Trace doesn't even know that she had her hands on, rewrites and stuff, but she's a big figure and a big player in this era. And then
And I think she just got sick of Hollywood after this.
Yeah.
I mean, she did a bunch of rewrites and stuff, but directing movies for her was such a Sisyphusian exercise that I think she took a decade off.
Imagine having like Keystone Cop
also, it was
around
hard
town.
for her to find money.
I mean, there was that, but also like imagine having a Keystone Cop around town so that you didn't have to hand over the print so you can keep working on this movie. But it feels like it almost, in a way, it drove her insane, but like not in a way that it just made her tired of having to go through it. And so
I think she's a very paranoid person to begin with.
Yeah.
And this kind of,
set it over the edge
level. Yeah.
You feel that in the film a little bit, but like that's the great energy. But no, but within all that, it's a damn good movie.
It's a great film.
Yeah. Jay.
Yeah.
Before we get out of here, we're going to test your award season knowledge based on the film we just reviewed, Mikey and Nicky. In a segment we like to call It's an Honor to Get Nominated. Jay, now we've talked extensively about movies, maybe some movies that surprise get into the Oscar conversation. So I'm going to ask you, buddy, Did Mikey and Nicky get nominated for anything?
So this was 76.
This was 76. Yes, correct. I'm glad you know the date.
Have we talked about another 76 movie?
I do not believe so. I do not believe this
Okay.
is this
So
is
I
like
was
the
just-
first
I was
time
just
that
making
we've
sure I
talked
didn't miss
about
some,
this
like,
year.
huge.
No, that's
This wasn't when The Exorcist came out or anything like that.
No.
I'm gonna say since this came out for 2.5 days and then got taken out of theaters, that this got 0 Oscar nominations.
That is correct.
Okay, very cool.
That was
Very
very good.
1976. That would be the 49th annual Academy Awards. That was held March 28th,
The
1977.
San Francisco Awards.
And this was the year of Rocky.
49ers.
Yes, I understood what you were saying.
Rocky. Okay. Rocky was
year-
76. Okay.
Rocky was 76. This was the lineup. It was
Better than Rocky, so we could start there.
All the President's Men,
Pretty good movie.
Bound for Glory,
Haven't seen it.
Network,
Pretty good movie.
and Taxi Driver.
Pretty good movie.
Yeah,
Pretty
pretty
good
fucking good movie.
Yeah, there's a lot of there. Ingrid Bergman's Face to Face was this year. Carrie was this year.
Look at 76. What do we got here?
I'm looking at Marathon Man was this year. There's a lot of good. 76 good year for cinema in general.
Salt on Precinct 13. Love that movie.
Trace, what do you think about Rocky?
I'm a Rocky fan.
Do you think the first Rocky is the best Rocky?
I do think the first Rocky's the best Rocky, but I like some of the other ones as well. They
Rocky
drop
V?
off. Yeah, Rocky 5 is pretty up
Is that the
there.
one with the robot?
No,
Yes.
that's the fourth one. I
This-
thought.
No, 4 is Drago.
Oh, okay. Yeah, then
Yeah.
you're right. Yeah, the robots. With
Yeah,
fifth
the
one.
robots in 5. Yeah, 5's pretty crazy. They drop off pretty quickly after the first one, but I feel like I like Rocky 1 through 3 generally. Rocky 4 is
Look, 4's got its place.
Four,
it has its
Four-
place. It's
four
it's a-
rocks. Yeah. What about like
Oh, actually, I do really like 4. I just remembered what 4 is. Yeah, I do really like the 4th.
I will break you?
Yeah.
Well, Jay knows that my movie this year has an all-time movie for me, and Jay knows
President's
that's
Men.
All the President's Men. That's like
It's a great film.
truly one of my favorite films of all time. Jay and I love a movie about process.
We love watching stuff get done.
God, we do. Like that is weirdly we should do it. I think we should do Bakula one year. I think that would be a really good series.
It's very
Funny.
thrilling watching people get stuff done. Like watching people just
I love
movies
it.
about people that are good at their job.
I love a paranoid thriller. There's nothing better than that.
I think Bakula, I think you just do like 5.
Yeah, we can do 5 or 6. I think we don't have to do the run of the gambit. Look at us talking about
Yeah,
the
5
show
or,
behind it.
5 or 6.
Maybe next year. Who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe that would be a fun little series to do.
knows?
And I really do love Network. Lamette.
I like
Yeah,
Network.
Network's great.
Network rules. Lamette, you'd have to do like 15.
Talk about Ned Beatty.
Yeah. Oh man.
Oh, yeah.
Ned Beatty's great in that movie.
Chayefsky, man.
The Omen was 76. The Omen's okay.
Omen's okay.
Omen's okay. Did you guys watch that Omen prequel last year?
Yeah.
First Omen.
Loved it.
Yeah, you were big on that one, right, Jay?
I loved it.
Yeah, I thought it was good for a prequel. It was not bad.
Yeah. I mean, they make kind of a little bit of a stumble at the end when it's like,
Digital
and
Gregory
here
Peck.
he is.
Yeah.
Here's
The
Damien.
Omen.
Yeah.
But up until then, if that movie was just called Demonic Pregnancy,
Exorcist
This,
yeah,
called
it would
Immaculate.
be sweet. Yeah, Immaculate. I didn't like that one.
Yeah.
But who's the director of the first Omen? I think she's really talented.
I don't remember her name.
Arkasha Stevenson.
Yes,
There you go.
yeah, I think she's got a lot of promise.
Well, Jay, you didn't like Immaculate? That's got your girl in it.
Sydney,
Sydney Sweeney.
my favorite actress.
I think it's a running bit. I think it's Sydney Sweeney's people or her heard this podcast. They were like, I don't know if those guys like her or not, but they keep bringing her up. So,
I really liked his other movie, The Voyeurs. I thought Immaculate was good, not great, but I thought The Voyeurs was fun.
oh, is that the one where like,
Immaculate?
is that the one with
I think I've
Justice
seen The
Smith
Warriors.
and,
Yeah, it's the one with Justice Smith. It's
and
more
Sydney
like
Sweeney?
yeah, it's like the erotic thriller one.
Are they like married?
There are a couple in it.
There are a couple. Or no,
Yeah.
I'm talking about like the director and
Oh,
and,
you mean
and Sydney
Michael
Sweeney.
Bennett
I was
and
like,
Sydney
are they a couple? Because he's like he has no business probably having her as a leading actress.
I mean, good
in
work
most
if
of
you
his-
can get it.
I guess so. Like, good for him finding his muse.
Well, Sydney Sweeney had a lot to do with Immaculate getting made. She
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she was like a
produced that
producer
movie.
and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I say what you want about her as a performer. I think she's very savvy.
She's a really good
industry-wise.
producer. Yeah, she makes smart choices.
I think, yeah, I mean, money wise, I guess. I just think she knows how to play the game.
Yeah. And she seems
Yeah.
like a decent person.
Yeah.
You know? I don't
sure.
got anything. I don't got anything against her.
Don't know much about her.
You know, let's get her on a political podcast then, I guess, and figure it all.
Get her
out
on the Hollywood government
know what?
committee. What's
Get
that
her-
thing called?
You know what? Get her on Rogan. You know what I mean?
Get her on
Get her on
Rogan.
Rogan. Get her on Rogan. We'll figure it all out in about 3 hours after that.
What does she think about the vaccine?
Oh my God.
I got to figure it out.
Would you guys nominate Mikey and Nicky in any categories?
Yeah, picture, actor twice.
Yeah. Cinematography.
Wow.
Cinematography,
Yeah.
director.
All right. So
screenplay.
what would you kick out for picture then? Would you kick out like
I haven't
Bound
seen
for
Bound
Glory?
for Glory.
So that's the one. Okay.
Is that
Yeah,
good?
get
You
rid of
seen
that.
it?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, get it out of there.
Okay. I mean, it will. You know, it's
Like, if you're just talking pure what I think it should have been nominated for off the top of my head, picture, director, actor, 2X, screenplay, cinematography.
it'd be original screenplay, right?
Yes.
So original screenplay would be Network One, The Front,
Pretty good screenplay.
Seven Beauties, Rocky, and Cousin Cassine.
Did Rocky win screenplay or did Network
No,
win screenplay?
Network One screenplay.
That makes more sense.
That makes more sense, buddy. Rocky won. I believe Rocky won just 3 awards on the night. It won editing, director, and picture, and that was it.
Three pretty good ones to win.
Alvinson won for Rocky, he was the director, and then Pakula for All the President's Men. Bergman for Face to Face. Wertmerler, Lena
What'd you call me?
Wertmerler for Seven Beauties. One of the few female directors nominated for Best Director, and then Sidney Lumet for Network as well too. And then, so you would throw Elaine May in there probably for name your
Big
name
time.
And then Best Actor was Peter Finch won for Network. He won that posthumously. He passed away before the ceremony. And then this was Giancarlo Giannini for Seven Beauties, William Holden for Network, Sylvester Stallone for Rocky, and Robert De Niro for Taxi Driver.
Oh, Robert De Niro in Taxi Driver. I feel like that's pretty iconic performance.
You think so?
Yeah.
Well, so I mean, so is Finch. Finch is a pretty.
I mean, yeah.
I must marry myself,
Travis Bickle, but
and I'm not going to take it anymore. Oh, I know, but I mean,
no,
yeah.
the Mad as Hell thing, yeah, forever embedded in cinema history.
yeah. But I think they're both great. Yeah, but then you talking to me?
But you know what I like?
That's
is
probably the
when-
number one thing, right? That people say to De Niro, right? Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, and I think it would have
Talking
to
to
be.
me?
I have no stats on that.
You talking to me?
But also I like when Peter Falk looks this way, but only one eye goes.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I think that's great.
It's kind of
That's
like
interesting.
it's kind of like the painting in Goodfellas. One dog looks one way, one dog looks the other
You
way.
got one guy looking this way, you got one guy looking the other way.
What was interesting about this Academy Award ceremony, Bernard Herrmann was nominated twice for music. He was nominated for Brian De Palma's Obsession and also Taxi Driver.
Yeah, now I do not believe you can do that anymore.
He broke the Oscars.
Or I think you can. Maybe it's below the line. I gotta check it.
I think you should be able to get 2 nominations.
I know
for
in the
actor.
I know in the acting categories you can't get nominated in the same. Like if you had 2 lead actor performances, you could not get nominated for lead actor twice. So, which is I think it's kind of a silly rule. It's a silly rule. Just, that's why like when Jamie Foxx got category frauded for Collateral, and they put him in supporting, and because he had Ray.
What
and
about
Lee.
Soderbergh? Soderbergh got 2, right?
Yeah, I
For
guess so. So I guess you can do that.
Brockovich
And I guess, yeah, you're right, Jason. I guess
Trafic.
it is. Yeah. So I guess you can get nominated in other categories, except the acting categories, they do not allow that. But in other categories, you
Too
can.
glamorous.
It's kind of dumb. Well, I think it's to then have 20 celebrities show up, you know what I mean, as opposed to
I think Michael B. Jordan's going to get nominated twice this year
for
for
Sinners.
different roles in the same movie.
You really, they're not going to do that.
They're going to do it.
You're a silly man.
It's going to be a first.
You're a silly man. Would you keep, would you give Best Picture to Mikey and Nicky over Rocky?
Yeah, I think this is better than Rocky.
Over
Well,
the other,
I
over
would have
the other
given,
films there?
I would have given Best Picture to Taxi Driver probably.
Oh, okay.
I don't know that I would give it to Mikey and Nicky over Taxi Driver.
I like Mikey and Nicky more than Taxi Driver.
I mean, we all know I give it to All the President's Men because I believe
I mean,
in
I love All the President's Men as well.
Yeah.
I never seen it.
Mikey and Nicky.
You never seen All the President's Men?
Nope.
How long were you going to wait before you said that?
And the Heartbreak Kid.
I was holding out.
Have you seen Network?
Yeah, I've seen Network.
Okay. All right. Network's great too.
You've seen Cocaine Bear?
Of course, I've seen Cocaine Bear.
Yeah. Okay.
That bear was on cocaine.
Just making sure you had your priorities straight.
God damn it. Did you watch Electric State?
No.
Are you going to?
I got to check it out.
Are you going to check it out, Jay? You think
I
so?
love Millie Bobby Brown. She's my favorite actress.
Talk about somebody that seems to not want to play the game. When she talks about like, I don't watch any movies, I'm like, and you're an actress? Fuck you. Like, I get kind of angry about that a little bit. Like,
Yeah, it's annoying.
that's a little bit annoying. It's like,
She seems like not a bad person, though.
I feel bad for Bon Jovi having to have that in my family.
29 Metacritic for this movie. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I saw this one interview where she was talking about, it was with, what's that podcast called? Call Her Daddy? Is that the podcast?
Yeah,
Sure.
that would be it.
She was on with Millie Bobby Brown, and they asked her about like who is more likely to make a big purchase, like a splurge purchase. And she was like, oh, my husband. I was like, well, of course. That's John Bon Jovi's child. He has no
Talent.
reference for what money is.
Yeah, he had a silver spoon childhood and he's got like a golden spoon marriage.
And I think Millie Bobby Brown was just like a normal kid. Also, I feel bad for kids who are forced to act.
Yeah, but learn a little bit about your craft. That's not just,
But what, she was like 12 when she started acting. She probably didn't
put a movie
have any-
on. God damn it, it's not hard. You're a fucking millionaire.
Maybe she
You don't
doesn't
have
like
anything
movies.
to worry about.
Maybe she doesn't like movies.
Well, then she shouldn't be in this profession making shitty ones then. Maybe then she can learn how to make a good one.
I think the Russo brothers should stop before Millie Bobby Brown sucks.
I really think that those Avengers movies are going to suck. Like, they're going to be awful.
Yeah, they're going to be bad.
I don't know. Marvel's on a heater.
Jay, I mean, if these Avengers movies do bad, like, this could be it. We could finally kill this thing once and for all.
Yeah, I mean, what? Like, so Captain America did pretty poorly, and it's going to make what, like $500 million? And everybody's like, what a disaster.
But it did like bad domestically is the problem. Like internationally, it's being saved a little bit, but no, like the budget for that movie is insane.
Yeah, they all are. It's absolutely ridiculous.
And then like Thunderbolts,
money laundering.
Thunderbolts kicks off the summer, and then you have Fantastic Four, which I think will probably make a boatload of money. And then yeah, the Avengers movies are start next year. Though it seems like they might have to delay it because they haven't even started shooting them yet.
I think if they make Mikey and Nicky remake, Chris Pratt, Millie Bobby Brown reunion.
That's it.
Who's the one that
Nikki's a girl now?
Wait, so Nikki's a girl?
Well, because you can do the name. Like Nikki can be a girl's name as well.
Okay, so what you're
so
saying
Nikki is Millie Bobby Brown.
So
I think in
so
many
Millie
ways,
Bobby
Millie Bobby
Millie
Brown
Bobby
is the Cassavetes of our era.
So Millie Bobby Brown is going to get shot in the head by the end of this movie.
Yeah.
Okay, cool, fine, sold. $200 million budget. Give it to Sean Levy.
Ooh. Maybe it should be Ryan Reynolds and The Rock.
God damn it. Yeah, maybe so. Anyway, Trace, thank you for coming on this dumb podcast that we do every week.
Thanks for having me.
I really appreciate you being here and keeping us in check. Not really you.
Or really indulging us, to be honest.
Really,
I feel like I contribute.
I feel like every guest loves to indulge us, and there's never going to be one.
It's the best podcast.
Except, like, I think Emma Sasek was the only time where she told us both to, like, cut out the foolishness.
I think she did basically tell me to shut up, which was valid.
You got to respect that from a guest.
I should shut up more.
Yeah.
Well, no, you shouldn't, buddy. You're doing great.
No. I'm like Nicky. I wake up every morning. I'm like, I hate myself.
Trace, can you tell everybody where they can find you and all your work on the internet? And if you could, Trace, give everybody out there a recommendation for the week. It doesn't have to be a new movie. It could be, an old movie. It could be a show that you're watching. Just something that you want to recommend to the audience out there to catch up with that's fresh on your mind.
Yeah, you can find me at the AwardsWatch website, both textually and orally. And you can,
all right.
Yeah, you can find me at Paste Magazine occasionally. Sometimes other places like AV Club. And then a recommendation for this week, I'd say watch some Survivor. Been watching Survivor. Watch season 41.
Wow.
It was the start of the new era of Survivor after COVID. It's a good ass season. Got some good players. Yeah, if we got rid of Paramount Plus, I don't know where I'd be watching Survivor. So yeah, that's it.
All right, Jay.
Very nice. Letterboxd J Ledbetter, Twitter at Mr. J Ledbetter, AwardsWatch website, your local Atlanta Cinemaplex, and recommendation. Rewatched a film this week called The Empire Strikes Back.
Heard of it?
I think it's pretty good.
Yeah.
I gotta say, truly, I've underrated it over the years. Like, it really is. I did kind of turn my nose up at it. Like, I mean, it's still like a Star Wars movie. And then I watched it out of the context of any of the other movies. I was just like, I mean, it was for the 1980 retrospective. I was like, I'm going to watch The Empire Strikes Back again, just by itself. And oh my God, that thing absolutely rips. That is one of the best blockbusters ever made, I think. It is so good, so propulsive, so visually imaginative. I think so well performed, so emotionally evocative. It doesn't get any better. Yoda's in it. One of my favorite actors.
True.
Frank Oz.
In it, he is.
Oh, wow.
Very nice.
Very nice, Trace.
We got to bring this guy back. The best. He's the best. I love a puppet.
You will be.
Kind of all puppets.
Will be.
Oh,
yeah, I love Empire Strikes Back. Last year when it was May the 4th, I wrote a piece up on the website ranking the Star Wars films. And I said at the time, and I think I kind of still stand by it, I think Empire Strikes Back is the greatest sequel ever made. And
for me, it goes Rise of Skywalker, Empire Strikes Back, Solo.
I would also throw out there The Godfather Part 2 is the greatest sequel ever made. If you want,
I think that's a pretty good movie.
Those are probably the two. I would say
High Voltage.
Maybe The Dark Knight.
Shipwrecked.
But also, you could make the argument for all three of those films too.
Shipwrecked,
a little bit, maybe a little bit less the Godfather, depending on the day. That all three of those movies, people make the argument that those are better movies than the original, The Dark Knight, Empire Strikes Back, and Godfather Part 2. Jay, I believe that you believe that, probably, right?
No, I'm a convert to one. Godfather.
Did I convert you over to one finally?
I don't think it was you. I think it was the director Francis Ford Coppola.
Nah, I'm pretty much. I've been making.
I do love. I love them both, but I do think Godfather.
I actually kind of feel like
perfect
Godfather 1 and I feel like Godfather 1 and 2 just feel like a giant singular story, and they used to have that
a coda, perhaps.
Yes, they feel like Well, they used to have that whole thing where they would play the Vito parts first from the De Niro stuff, and then they would play Godfather 1.
Yeah, it's
Then
called
they would,
Dakota.
and it was called the Coda, and it was awesome. And I wish that they would put that on.
My second favorite Coda after Coda.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah, that makes sense. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd at Ryan McQuade77. If you like all my work, you can find it here at awardswatch.com, as well as over at the playlist, a bunch of other places. You can listen to podcasts like this every week on Thursdays, but on Mondays we have the main show. iTunes and Spotify 5-star reviews we greatly appreciate it. Please go over the website and sign up for the newsletter. It's the best place to get all of our news, reviews, interviews, and podcasts into you all in one place. Recommendation of the week. I've been watching it. I'm finally catching up on it. I told the guys that I was watching this beforehand. We're going to try to wrap it up here soon. I'm watching Severance. I think that Severance season 2 is, I don't think it's as good as the first season, but I think it's as interesting of a television show out there right now. It gives me all the hints of shows like The Leftovers and Fringe and Lost, shows that like really I over the years just sunk my teeth into and made appointment television, and I don't have all the answers, and the show's not giving it to me. It makes me frustrated, but it also makes me extremely curious for whatever is coming next. So I think the show is really well shot. The cast is extraordinary. I think Ben Stiller has found his niche on television because he was making some. I mean, Walter Mitty, a very interesting failure for him. But then he had Escape from Dannemora, and now he's really, found a home here in making the style and aesthetic for the show. He's also an executive producer. I think Adam Scott's
It's in the Heartbreak Kid.
Yeah, he was the remake, and he's terrible.
Truly an abomination.
Truly a terrible film. But watch Severance. It's on Apple TV Plus. Be part of that.
Why do you think our Audis doomed us to podcast eternally as innies?
Oh man! Well, Jay doesn't know anything because you haven't watched any of that.
It sounds like podcasting is some sort of like hellish punishment. And
I don't know.
I don't think you be the judge.
For our innies, it is.
No. All right. Okay. Well,
really, it's the listeners.
It's the listeners. They're the ones that are screwed by the end of all these episodes. Next week, we will be back. We will be wrapping up our Elaine May movie series, and we will be talking about Ishtar. And it's just going to be me and Jay next week. No guests, just an old-fashioned host-to-host conversation about Ishtar. Just two guys.
You're Hoffman, by the way.
What? I'm sorry?
I'm Beatty, you're Hoffman.
Oh, okay. Well, thanks for giving me that.
Just wanted to snag that one.
You wanted to take it already before you could?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, maybe next week we'll flip the roles. Who knows? Thank you all so much for listening, and we will see you all next time.